how to draw Sonic. Success guaranteed. I'm gonna make it really simple for you. You ready? Here goes. Circle here, we'll cross the circle, and triangles, and more triangles right here, and like circles, more lines, and pretty easy, huh? Yeah? No. Let's try this again. This time, it's gonna make a little more sense.
Got blue on my cushion. That's not good.
It's the Lily factor. Ding!
I've been drawing long enough to know that when you're starting out drawing, you don't want things that complicated.
Especially when art can improve from practice, taking your drawings from this
To this, to this. While we're using some technique, we're not gonna make it that crazy complicated. To get started, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a circle. Well, that is complicated, and it needs to be really light. Don't worry about moving your wrist, just try to move your arm. That way you're barely having to put any pressure on the pencil or on the page. It doesn't have to be perfect. Draw a nice and light circle, and then we're gonna draw a little line like a stick man, with one leg bending out, one leg straight, one arm curved out like this, one arm pointed in like this. Now I know what you're thinking, why are we doing all this technique? Isn't this kind of complicated? Well, this is all we're doing. These are just basic guidelines. They're not something you need to follow to a T. It's just so you can get an idea of where everything lands in the page. So now we're gonna move on to the head. The bottom part of this circle will be our base. So he's got this part of his head shape that has his mouth and his nose. And that to me is shaped kind of like a bean. So you'll like kind of want it in an oval shape, but kind of curved, like a bean. We're gonna have his head pointing to the left. So that means that we're gonna wanna draw an extra curve right here, like drawing the letter C, but you know, upside down.
Wait, that's not right. So maybe like rotated? There we go.
And that'll be where his nose goes.
And it rhymed. The poet didn't even know it.
This is why we want the circle to be nice and light. So we have it there as a guideline, but not something we need to follow to a T. Next we'll draw the nose. That's gonna be an oval, and it's coming right in the center of this little bump we drew. If we're gonna shade it in, you can add a little curve right here and shade around it. That gives a little white highlight to his nose. Next we're gonna do the eyes. So you're gonna start right around the top of the nose, and you're gonna draw a little line that curves out like this and comes right back in the edge of his cheek. And you're gonna come over here, and since the nose is kind of blocking this area, we just have to assume if it's starting right here for this part of the eye, then it's starting over here as well. And so it'll curve out and back in, but so it's about the same height, just not the same width. It's a little smaller since he's looking to the left. Then you'll draw a line in the middle because he has like a little bump where his eyebrows are. And then you'll want to draw a little curve that matches around the eyes above them to the side, because that's also where his little eyebrows go. And next comes the irises in his eyes. We'll have them looking to the left. So we're going to draw an oval. And we'll come around the other side, draw another oval over here. Since we're drawing it kind of small, you can just draw a line and it'll look like an oval. And you can just go over it till it's a little darker, and there's the eye. Then you can add a little curve similar to what we did to the nose to the side of the iris, and that leaves little highlights. And then let's give him a smiling expression. So we'll just draw a little curve to the side of his mouth, a little line there if you want to make it extra expressive. Angled towards his eye area is where the ears start. So you want to kind of space it, give it enough room between his eyebrow and his ear. And it's a triangular shape, so you can draw a nice little triangle. And then instead of making it a pointy tip like a triangle, give it just the slightest curve. You'll kind of trace around that edge that you've already drawn for the ear. And then you'll draw a curve down like this. I'm gonna erase some of that additional line I did there so you can see it a little better. Since his head's kind of turned, instead of drawing the inside of the ear the same as this one, we're actually gonna have more room for how we trace the inside. So we'll want more room over on this side and less room over here. kind of trace that inner ear, and then draw the same little curve. Next, we'll kind of just curve down here around the face. We're gonna draw a line behind it. It comes out like this. It's just a little curve. It's kind of following that circular motion that we started with, but once again, we're not following it to a T. One spike coming out like this. Kind of curved, point it back in. Then we'll draw a second spike coming down. It's a little bit bigger than the other one, so you want to make sure it comes out a little further. Back in, and then a third spike coming out and back in right under his jaw. Like that. Feel free to make tweaks too. Since we're just sketching this out, it might not always be right the first time. Even I will probably have some areas I'll want to fix. And then I'm going to erase some of the circle now because I don't really need it. That'll help me get a better visual of what I'm looking at. See if I need to make any tweaks. Now we're gonna do the body. So, I'm really not gonna be following the stickman base at all. This is just so we can see what our pose idea is. We're gonna draw a little oval coming out under his chin. It's gonna be kind of in the middle here of the chin. So this is gonna be kind of a, draw it like an oval like we did for the eyes. But just don't draw the other part of the oval. And then draw a line coming up, and then draw a little curve right in front of the arm. I'm gonna draw like a letter C. And then behind that curve, and behind this arm, you wanna draw a curve coming out and in like this, out and in like this. And then draw another curve, but finish that curve right there. We're gonna draw kind of behind this eyebrow, his thumb coming in like this. So you'll just want to draw like a little C with a line going up. So a little C, the line going up. And then a curve right under that line like that. And then we'll draw his first finger. It's another little oval shape. We get to have an easier time with the hands in terms of this art style because they draw the hands a lot bigger than how we would draw like a human character's hand. So we have more opportunity to make the fingers nice and big and round. It leaves us more space to make that happen. Then we're gonna draw like a big rectangle right here and a curve to the side. So like leave enough room where you aren't touching the little glove base yet, so you can have that curve. And then we'll draw one little curve right here, and then one here, one more. Once again, right under our chin area, we're gonna draw another little oval shaped arm coming out, and then back in around it, keeping everything nice and round like that. So at the end of our oval, just a little to the side of it, we're gonna draw a line coming out here, and then we're gonna round it and bend it down for his leg. We'll repeat that same motion, just spaced out between it. And we'll draw a little line here, and a line coming straight down. Repeat that same line. So we're gonna do the same little C shape, two lines curving out behind the arm, and then another curve that comes out like this. We're gonna draw and little letter C curve here. That'll just come around like a circle. And then we'll draw the other side and then draw a round shape here. So we'll draw a curve, comes back in for one spike. Erasing our little guidelines. Don't need those anymore. I'm gonna draw backward, upside down C curves under the legs. It's going to be the same principle as drawing with gloves. Two curves coming behind the legs, like little C's, and then one big curve connects the two. We're going to draw this foot first because it's going to be in front of this other foot. So So we're gonna draw a little curve that comes out, stops right about here. We're gonna draw a line. It's kind of a rounded off line that comes down. And then we're gonna make this edge a little bit rounded, and we're gonna come out with a kind of straight line, but not exactly, and connects to that other line. And then we're gonna draw a little curve right here that comes down and connects at the very tip of the front of a shoe. And then we're gonna draw a big curve right here, another curve here. And those are his little boot straps, or shoe straps. And then he's got a little buckle. So we're just gonna draw a square with rounded edges, so it doesn't have to be pointy on these corners. And then we'll draw a little square inside of it. We're gonna point this tip down like this, where it's touching the front of this point. And then we're gonna draw back of it like that. Little straps right here. Ta-da! That's basically it. Now we're gonna quickly shade it in. We're gonna go over some of these lines, make them a little darker so we can add more pressure. We're basically just tracing the lines we already drew, making them a bit darker. And just lightly shade the top and go lighter as you go down, and then it's got some shading. And we're not touching that circle there to leave that white highlight. We'll do the same for this side. Make the outline a bit darker. And then if you need to darken the pupils too, feel free. And then we'll just lightly shade around the head base. We can just do some dark shading right on the corner, on the bottom part of this quill. So it can be a little darker than what we did before. Something like that. And then we can shade a little bit behind this ear too. Shade the white parts of his eyes here. And that you really want to be light since they're light color. And just lightly shade the top. Like that. Shade a little bit under the feet, make it look like he's actually standing on solid ground. And lastly, don't forget to sign your name on the bottom corner. And then you can add the date too. I don't know what day it is though. So even though it doesn't seem like a fun thing to do at the time, trust me, you won't regret adding the date.
And that's how to draw Sonic the Hedgehog. Thanks for coming along with this tutorial. I hope it was fun and helpful. And may God bless you in your life and your art. Bye!
Well, actually, this is the last one. No, wait.
Why do I keep drawing it with extra fingers?